even more systematic destruction of team productivity. Many organizations schedule meetings based on when it's convenient for managers without considering the impact on makers. A 1-hour team meeting scheduled at 2 p.m. might seem reasonable to a manager who thrives on interaction and variety. But for a maker, that meeting destroys the entire afternoon because they can't enter deep focus knowing they'll be interrupted in a few hours. This scheduling mismatch creates workplace friction that most teams never address directly. Makers start to resent meetings and feel like their colleagues don't respect their work. Managers become frustrated when makers seem unavailable or antisocial. Hybrids feel torn between accommodating both types of needs and end up satisfying neither effectively. The team develops an undercurrent of tension that reduces collaboration and creates defensive behavior patterns. Research shows that teams with defined worker type awareness are 45% more productive, demonstrating the massive opportunity cost of ignoring these differences. This productivity increase comes from simple changes in how teams coordinate their work. When everyone understands that makers need protected time blocks, managers need interaction opportunities, and hybrids need clear separation between their different work modes, the team can design systems that support everyone's peak performance. Traditional meeting culture is designed for managers and accidentally sabotages makers. Most organizations default to meeting-heavy cultures because managers typically hold leadership positions, and they design systems based on their own working preferences. Meetings are where managers do their most important work. They coordinate resources, make decisions, align team members, and solve problems through group discussion. For managers, more meetings often mean more productivity and better outcomes. But this same meeting culture destroys maker productivity. Every meeting fragments their day and prevents them from entering the extended focus states where they produce their most valuable work. A maker who has 3 meetings scattered throughout their day will struggle to accomplish any substantial creative work between those meetings. They end up spending their time on administrative left tasks and busy work instead of the deep work that creates the most value for the organization. The solution requires recognizing that different worker types need different communication and collaboration approaches. Makers need asynchronous communication, batched meetings, and protected time blocks. Managers need regular interaction opportunities, quick decision-making sessions, and frequent check-ins. Hybrids need clear separation between their creation time and their management time, with appropriate communication protocols for each mode. One company discovered the power of implementing worker-type respect protocols and increased their output by 60% as a result. They started by having every team member identify their primary worker type and communicate their optimal working patterns to their colleagues. Makers shared their deep work hours and preferred communication methods. Managers shared their availability for quick decisions and their meeting preferences. Hybrids explained their different modes and how to interact with them appropriately in each mode. The company then redesigned their communication and meeting systems around these different needs. They created specific hours when makers were available for questions and meetings, with the understanding that they were completely unavailable during their deep work blocks. They established communication protocols that allowed managers to get quick answers without disrupting maker focus. They designed meeting schedules that accommodated everyone's peak performance times. The 60% output increase came from eliminating the hidden productivity costs that had been destroying their team effectiveness. Makers could finally maintain focus for extended periods and produce high-quality work consistently. Managers could get the interaction and decision-making opportunities they needed without accidentally sabotaging their teammates. Hybrids could excel in both creation and management by having clear systems that supported both types of work. This success story reveals how much productivity most teams lose to worker-type conflicts without realizing it. The costs are hidden because they show up as general inefficiency, workplace stress, and mediocre output rather than obvious problems that can be easily identified and fixed. Teams assume that constant interruptions, scattered focus, and workplace friction are normal parts of collaborative work. Communication rules that solve these conflicts require understanding each worker type's needs and designing interaction patterns that support everyone's peak performance. These rules create structure around when and how different types of workers collaborate, while protecting each person's most productive working hours. However, communication protocols alone aren't enough to solve the deeper productivity challenges that each worker type faces. The physical and digital spaces where you work have an even more powerful impact on your ability to maintain automatic productivity throughout the day. Changing your environment is 10 times more effective than relying on willpower or motivation to increase your productivity. Most people think productivity is about having more discipline or finding the right motivational strategies. They try to force themselves to work harder through sheer mental effort. This approach fails because it fights against how your brain actually works. Your brain is designed to take the path of least resistance. When you engineer your environment correctly, productive work becomes the easiest option available. Behavioral science research shows that environmental design accounts for 80% of productivity success. This means that how you structure your physical and digital spaces has 4 times more impact on your results than your personal motivation or discipline. The most successful people understand this principle and spend their time optimizing their environment instead of trying to develop superhuman willpower. They make productive choices automatic by removing obstacles and distractions from their workspace. There are 3 key environmental guidelines that either support or sabotage your worker type. The first guideline is removing visual and digital clutter from your workspace. Research shows that task switching can reduce productivity by 15 to 40%, and visual clutter creates constant micro-interruptions that force your brain to process irrelevant information. Every item on your desk, every icon on your computer desktop, and every open browser tab competes for your attention and reduces your ability to focus on important work. For your physical environment, this means having a dedicated workspace that's clear, except for the materials you need for your current project. Your desk should contain only what's necessary for your immediate work. Reference materials should be organized and stored out of sight when not in use. Visual distractions like personal photos, decorative items, or unrelated documents should be removed from your direct line of sight during work sessions. For your digital environment, this means organizing your computer to support focused work. Close applications you don't need for your current task. Turn off notifications from social media, news sites, and non-essential communication tools. Use website blockers to prevent access to distracting sites during work hours. Organize your files so you can find what you need quickly without searching through cluttered folders. Keep your desktop clean with only essential shortcuts visible. The second guideline is optimizing natural light in your workspace. Poor lighting creates eye strain and mental fatigue that destroys your ability to maintain focus. Natural light improves cognitive performance and reduces the mental effort required to concentrate. If natural light isn't available, full-spectrum LED lights that mimic daylight can provide similar benefits. The key is having consistent, bright lighting that doesn't create glare on your screens or work materials. Position your workspace to take advantage of natural light without creating screen glare. If you're working on a computer, the light source should come from the side rather than directly behind or in front of your monitor. This reduces eye strain and helps maintain alertness throughout long work sessions. Avoid working in dim lighting or under harsh fluorescent lights that can cause headaches and reduce your ability to concentrate. The third guideline is establishing meeting-free focus blocks that protect your peak performance hours. Different worker types need different approaches to protecting their most productive time. Makers need large blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work. Managers need structured interaction opportunities that don't fragment their decision-making capacity. Hybrids need clear separation between their creation time and their management time. This protection requires setting specific hours when you're completely unavailable for meetings, calls, or non-urgent communication. During these focus blocks, you turn off all notifications and communicate to others that you cannot be interrupted except for genuine emergencies. The key is consistency. Your focus blocks should happen at the same time each day or week so that others can plan around them and you can develop the habit of entering deep work during these protected hours. Creating physical and digital environments that make productive work the path of least resistance requires systematic removal of obstacles. Start by identifying every step required to begin your most important work. If you need to clear clutter from your desk, find documents on your computer, or wait for applications to load, these steps create friction that makes it harder to start working. Each point of friction gives your brain an opportunity to choose an easier activity instead. The concept of friction removal explains how small obstacles create major productivity blocks. Every time you encounter friction, your brain has to make a decision about whether to continue with the current task or switch to something easier. These micro-decisions consume mental energy and create opportunities for procrastination. When you remove friction, you eliminate these decision points and make productive work the automatic choice. Friction can be physical, digital, or social. Physical friction includes things like uncomfortable seating, poor lighting, or having to search for materials. Digital friction includes slow loading times, disorganized files, or complicated software interfaces. Social friction includes interruptions from other people, unclear communication about your availability, or pressure to respond immediately to non-urgent requests. The Monday Hour 1 principle demonstrates how environmental preparation creates massive productivity gains. When you spend 1 hour at the beginning of your week preparing your environment and planning your deep work sessions, you can save up to 10 hours of wasted time throughout that week. This preparation includes organizing your workspace, setting up the digital tools you'll need, and creating clear boundaries around your focus time. This preparation approach works because it eliminates the daily decisions about where to work, what tools to use, and how to structure your time. Instead of starting each work session by figuring out what you need and where to find it, you can immediately begin productive work, because everything is already organized and accessible. Case studies of remote workers show how environment optimization can dramatically increase output when aligned with worker type needs. Makers who optimize their environment for extended focus sessions see the greatest improvements in creative output. Managers who organize their digital tools for rapid decision-making and communication become more effective at coordinating their teams. Hybrids who create flexible environments that support both deep work and collaborative activities can excel in both areas without constant switching costs. Understanding your worker type determines which environmental optimizations will have the greatest impact on your productivity. The same environmental change that helps a maker might hurt a manager's effectiveness. This is why generic productivity advice often fails. It doesn't account for the different environmental needs of different work types. Environmental optimization works together with systematic scheduling to create automatic productivity. When your environment supports your natural working style, you need a calendar system that protects your peak performance hours and eliminates the constant decisions about what to work on next. The 2025 calendar system that eliminates overwhelm. The calendar blocking system that eliminates overwhelm works because it accommodates all three worker types within the same framework, while protecting each type's peak performance requirements. This system recognizes that modern work environments require collaboration between different worker types, but it structures that collaboration in ways that minimize cognitive switching costs and maximize individual effectiveness. The foundation of this system is bottom-up scheduling, which means you protect your most important work first, then add meetings and collaborative activities around those protected blocks. Most people schedule top-down by accepting meeting invitations as they come in, then trying to fit their important work into whatever time remains. This approach guarantees that your most valuable work gets fragmented and interrupted by less important activities. Bottom-up scheduling starts with blocking out time for your primary worker type activities before you add anything else to your calendar. Makers block out 4 to 8 hour periods for deep work before they accept any meetings. Managers block out their peak decision-making and interaction hours before they schedule administrative work. Hybrids block out separate time periods for creation work and management work before they add any mixed activities. The meeting protocol that works for hybrid work environments establishes designated meeting windows that respect each worker type's needs. Rather than allowing meetings to scatter randomly throughout the week, teams create specific time blocks when collaborative work happens. This approach follows the principle that when managers set designated meeting hours, they protect maker productivity effectively throughout their organization. The key is creating predictable windows for interaction while maintaining large blocks of protected time for focused work. Makers benefit from having all meetings clustered into specific days or time periods, leaving entire days free for uninterrupted creation work. Managers need regular interaction opportunities but can batch similar types of meetings together to reduce switching between different management activities. Hybrids require clear separation between their collaborative time and their creation time, with meetings scheduled only during their designated management blocks. Cross-time zone collaboration without destroying productivity requires establishing clear protocols about when different types of communication can happen. Synchronous communication, like meetings and calls, happens during designated collaboration windows. Asynchronous communication, like email and project updates, can happen anytime, but responses are expected within 24 hours, rather than immediately. Urgent issues that cannot wait follow escalation procedures that don't depend on any single person being instantly available. Themed days reduce cognitive switching costs by batching similar work types together. Instead of mixing different kinds of activities throughout each day, you dedicate entire days to specific types of work. Makers might have creation days when they focus entirely on producing substantial work, and communication days when they handle meetings and administrative tasks. Managers might have decision days focused on strategic choices and problem solving, and operational days focused on team coordination and routine management tasks. For hybrids, themed days become essential because they prevent the constant switching between creation and management modes that destroys effectiveness in both areas. A hybrid might designate Mondays and Wednesdays as creation days when they work like a maker, and Tuesdays and Thursdays as management days when they work like a manager. This separation allows them to excel in both areas without paying the switching costs that come from mixing both types of work. The Monday Hour 1 principle demonstrates how systematic planning creates massive productivity gains. When you spend 1 hour at the beginning of your week preparing your schedule and protecting your most important work, you can save up to 10 hours of wasted time throughout that week. This preparation eliminates the daily decisions about what to work on and when to work on it, making productive choices automatic rather than requiring constant willpower. Real